So about 2 years ago, I was accepted into a top 20 nationally ranked master's program. I decided to pursue a second master's in the space of analytics. So I was accepted into that program. I took three courses and I made the decision to ultimately withdraw from that program. And if you're sticking around waiting for me to talk about the traditional education pathway, I am not going to do that. I have a BA in psychology and I also have an MBA. But what I learned when I was pursuing that degree is that I was like skimming through that program. I was going through those courses so quickly. Like I was going through those modules and things so quickly. I was pushing it out. Bam, 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 bam. But I had to reflect and I was like, the reason that you're able to do that so quickly and so proficiently is because of your 13 years of experience within data. Now, like I said, because this program was top 20 in the nation, y'all supposed to be like, this is it. This supposed to be tough. But I was able to get through it. And the reason being was because of that experience. And I think about what that would have looked like in the lens of someone that had no real world experience within data. Like, I can't even begin to think on how overwhelming that experience is for someone with no previous real world experience. Another thing that I noticed is that everything in that program was essentially presented with the expectation that I already knew this stuff. Like, for example, the sequel portion of the program, it wasn't taught. Like, it wasn't taught. It was essentially like presented, the use cases were provided, and you had to write your code in order to fulfill your assignment. That was the gist of it. For someone, like I said, that has the real world experience, I'm cool with it. Cause like I'm on whatever you're on. But like I said, someone that has never really navigated that space, uh, I would hit the door quickly. And I would say that this is not unique for one institution. That is how formal education is structured. And unfortunately, in a space like technology, but I'll hone in on data specifically because, like, that's my bread and butter. Those fields are what is called applied fields. I say that all the time. It doesn't matter about what you said you know how to do. What have you applied and what was the impact of it? Understanding in a space like analytics happens through repetition, practicing, and getting as close to a real world environment that you can possibly get into. Looking for ways to be creative and leverage those skills, even in your current space. That's a good way to do it as well. 13 years of experience, I've sat on interview panels on both sides. I'm someone that's still very actively, like I'm always interviewing for potential roles for me. And I sit on interview panels to where I interview other people. I provide feedback on interviews. I'm out there on both sides. And one thing about me is that I've seen people with no evidence of application get passed up, even if they have that legitimate education. Like, for example, let's say you have a bachelor's in business analytics or a bachelor's in data or a master's in data, but none of your work experience shows that. Or you don't have any projects to show that, or there's nothing to really like legitimize any of the work that you claim you've learned. I've seen with my own two eyes people get passed up. And in a way, I get it, but in a way, I also do not get it. Now, where I understand is that someone that has been within the space for 13 years and has pursued a program like that, there is a gap. There is a gap with how data shows up in the real world and how it is actually taught. It's different. But I also think that they should at least deserve a chance. Like, come on now. But I get it because of how things look in this space and like the amount of high stakes things that typically lean on a field like data. So I get it. Now, the way to counteract that would be essentially to build out a project, to have the ability to show, yes, I went through this program, this is what I've learned, but this is how I've used it. So that's where things like portfolios come into play, or the ability to be able to adequately explain what you claim you learned over there. Not just like memorize and like regurgitate that information. This is not a message against like degrees. Like I said, I have two, But this is also the ability to challenge you that if that is the route that you're going, to ensure that you're able to apply the skills you claim you learned in that space. Start being creative and looking for ways in your current role to apply those skills. Start looking for projects to build. Start looking for things that you can do to prove evidence of application, because that experience and that education, they are not meant to compete. They are meant to essentially complement each other. And when you have the ability to marry those two, it increases your chances for success. So, bye, y'all. Hope this helps.